when you think about somebody that's on an ID team, what kind of skills do you think they need in an environment like what we work in?
Great question. I personally think it's communication is a big one, really understanding the need and not allowing your customer to be the expert in how to design training content and learning experiences. So that's the first thing I would say. The second one I think is just figuring out a different way to do it. And I think I'm spoiled getting an opportunity to work so closely with you and Monta, because both of you are just wired that way. You know, you get a challenge and you figure out a way. You're like water through rock, you know, and that's something that I think we need more of like, instead of me saying like, oh, well, we need 6 months to do this, so now you got to move your project. It's like, oh, you only have a month for this to get done. Let me show you what you can get in that month. And if that's not good enough, then we got to talk about extending our timeframes instead of walking into a room and saying, well, if you want this at minimum, it's always going to take 6 months. Because I think it, to an extent, it almost causes like a sandbag, like a delay of end product. And I think that's sometimes why perhaps we've been getting skipped in the launch cycle. It's just like, oh yeah, that'd be great to have, but I know if we've got to do that, that's going to add this much time, and we don't have that kind of time to wait around. The market needs it now. We have competitors who are launching things. So being mindful to the actual industry around us versus being staunch in our own needs as a team. Because again, like everyone else is being asked around us to do things differently, do it faster, find new ways. And we need to be able to lean into that too, if we're a part of this larger, you know, tech organization that now needs to move things 3 times as fast as they did last year and probably 10 times as fast as they will next year.
So the big thing that you think is communication and flexibility.
Yes.
So if you were interviewing somebody, those are the things that you would be looking for, right? You wouldn't be looking for technical skills. You wouldn't be looking for visual design skills. You wouldn't be looking for banking experience or any of that kind of stuff, or
I mean, all of that could be like a cherry on top, I think. But at the end of the day, if you're a clear communicator and you can communicate what outcomes your stakeholders are expecting, and then you can be flexible in how to get that done. I feel like there's a lot of people in today's environment that can learn the design skills. You know, they're tinkering it with it outside of work. Maybe they have a podcast, or they're making YouTube videos, or they don't live close to any of their families, so they're having to do Snapchats and virtual meetings and figure out how to share things in that manner. And, you know, for me personally, I just think the attitude and the flexibility is going to serve you best. And if you can teach someone the skills, they'll learn them if they're eager and they want to see it at the table.
So interestingly, you just described visual design skills. However, what you actually described was media skills. When I say visual design, I'm talking about how do I lay out a slide? What does it look like? What color schemes do I use? What fonts do I use? What pictures? You didn't talk about that. You talked about media. That today's world is media driven.
Yeah, I mean, we're all obsessed with it. I mean, I was reading something the other day where it was saying how, you know, when the TV came out, you know, you had a source of media. Now at any given time, you might have 7 to 8 different media devices around you that you are actually interfacing with. You might have the TV on, you might have something going on your phone, you might have a tablet playing music. We're so conditioned to it that to not lean into those skills in the corporate environment just seems silly. I think sometimes when you get into that corporate environment, it's like, well, no, it has to be this way. Like, we can't do it like that. I don't know. It's just like, you know, how we used to have those very strict dress codes. And it's just like, you've got to, you know, wear a tie and dress pants and all this stuff. We've thrown a lot of that to the wayside because it doesn't really add quality necessarily to the end